right at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for joining us into another edition of News Tonight. My name is Patricia Lukoma, and right now let's have a look at what's making headlines. Commonwealth team returns accorded heroes a welcome. Petitioners challenge the 2017 Constitution Amendment Act. Donald Trump to leave if meeting with North Korea is not fruitful. And in sports, Hot Pool Club inflicts third defeat on CKI. Thank you so much for choosing UBC TV and News Tonight in particular, starting off with the Commonwealth, the 25th Commonwealth Heads of State and Government. CHOGM has been opened by the head of the Commonwealth, Queen Elizabeth II, at Buckingham Palace in London. President Yoweri Museveni is leading the Ugandan delegation. We bring you highlights of this occasion.
I don't know how smart it's got to be, because
President of the Republic of Uganda. And His Majesty the Sultan Anyangdi Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highnesses, Secretary General, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely proud to be welcoming you all to London, the first full Heads of Government meeting here in almost 40 years.
Prime Minister Muscat, Prime Minister May, Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen, having on so many occasions been welcomed to opening ceremonies around the Commonwealth, it is a pleasure this time to welcome you to my own home. It gives me great pleasure to declare this meeting of the Commonwealth Heads of Government open.
Well, that is the CHOGM meeting there, and we will be updating you as the meeting unfolds. Now, meanwhile, President Yoweri Museveni has held a meeting with Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge, at the Buckingham Palace in London, during which they discussed wildlife conservation and the role of the youth in development. The president, who was accompanied by his daughter, Miss Patience Museveni Rabogo, arrived in the United Kingdom today ahead of the 25th Commonwealth Heads of State and Government meeting that officially has opened today, 19th April 2018. He was received at the privately owned Luton International Airport by the Queen's representative, Colonel Chris Sherwood Smith, and driven directly to the palace for the meeting with the Duke, Prince William. Now, Prince William has made wildlife crime and conservation a personal cause and has lobbied presidents around the whole world to strengthen and protect conservation. The president and his host also discussed the role of the youth in the development. The president will tomorrow join other heads of state government for the joint forum, a breakfast for heads of state government before formal opening at the Buckingham Palace held under the theme Towards a Common Future. The 2018 CHOGM is focusing on 4 main areas of interest, and that includes prosperity, boosting intra-Commonwealth trade and investment security. Uganda's Commonwealth team has returned from a successful tournament hosted in Gold Coast, Australia. Uganda receives the winners. John Barnes Sentamo reports the warm welcome.
Joshua Cheptegei and other medal winners have been lifted shoulder high by fans that turned up in numbers to welcome the Commonwealth team from a successful games in Australia. The occasion hosted at Entebbe Airport was a colourful activity at which all athletes got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get up close and personal with the First Lady, Janet Museveni.
You have opened the eyes of Ugandans that we have to begin to think and dream big, because that's why we have been kept small. We think we can't manage. When we win 1 medal, we are content with that. We think that's as much as we can do. But now, you know that we have it. We have it in us. God has a large plan for Uganda. He wants to bless us. Now, when you put prayer first, you had somebody specially praying for you, and we were here praying for Team Uganda. God listens.
Uganda won 6 medals, 3 of which are gold by Joshua Cheptegei and Stella Chisang, while Solomon Mutai won silver and Juma Miru and Marcelin Chelangat returned with bronze medals.
We thank you. The provision of government to sports is our duty. It's a duty of government. We wish we could provide even more and better, but you must know that government wants to provide for sports, our sports people, and we know we can do even better than this. Next time we hope even the girls will bring a medal, and those other teams who were not able to bring the teams, we thank them nonetheless because you worked hard. But we know that we're not done, that the medals will now come and the world will know about Uganda. They are not yet sure. They will yet know where Uganda really is.
Double golden medal winner Joshua Cheptegei lauded government for its investment of about 3.1 billion shillings and remains humble in his approach despite his success.
I want to thank my friends, the athletes, whom we've traveled all the way from Uganda to Australia to defend our country. You are heroes indeed. I want to thank different communities, especially those who have hailed all the way from Sabia region, Kapchora. Our Honorable Minister of Water, Mr. Sam Cheparis, thank you so much. You started the fire burning all the way when you were the head teacher in Sabia College. You allowed sportsmen, you gave them the opportunity, the likes of Kipsiro and Kiprotich, and through your success, it's amazing. The world can tell it. Those are your fruits.
On top of the medals won, Ugandans in swimming and athletics set new personal best times, plus qualification to the World Cup by the She Cranes. Uganda in Australia was represented by 69 athletes in 11 disciplines, including swimming, shooting, squash, badminton and rugby. The team will later be treated to a luncheon expected to be graced by the President of the Republic, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. John Barnes, Sentamu, reporting.
Well done. Good job. Kudos to all the winners. Now, moving on into issues with land inquiry, the chairperson of the Commission of Inquiry in Land Matters, Justice Catherine Bamgemerere, has issued criminal summons against the Queen Mother of Toro Kingdom. She's none other than Best Kemigisha for violating the Commission's obligation. As Sudat Kaya reports, the Queen Mother had been summoned to explain the illegal sale of 15 square miles of land at Kigumba, Burahia, Kabarore district.
Issue for Queen Best Kemigisha to appear before this commission on the 23rd of April at 9 a.m. without fail.
As the Commission of Inquiry in Land Matters sat, shocking evidence has emerged on the illegal sale of land in Toro Kingdom. Appearing before the Commission, Prince Patrick Mwesigwa Arali Kasagama pinned the Queen Mother for selling their land.
Our complaint is that in the 13 parcels of land sold by the Queen Mother Best Kemigisa to government, Block 89 Plot 2 was our family land. It's my family land.
Prince Patrick questioned the death of the Omukama.
Surrounding poisoning, you know well that the former Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Toro happens to be in Luzera, jailed and sentenced. Some princes like Happy Kijanangoma were gunshotted by what came to be out of the case in court. So this whole matter, my lord, there was also objections by some senior members of the royal family before the king married the current queen, this we are talking about. So this culminated into huge conspiracy and fears.
He further questioned the way the kingdom is being managed.
I think the king has two challenges. Now that the first challenge that the mother has gone ahead to put these land titles in her own names, deny audience and discussions with the royal family members who are beneficiaries to some of these lands, puts us quite in a tight corner that only the law would assist us.
He told the Commission that there is a lot of secrecy in the kingdom on how land is being managed.
The Omukama had only 4 private properties. And here, my lord, I'm covered that this is why, under this, the judge said there is no doubt that plaintiff, in bracket Kemigisa, may obtain a grant jointly with another person or persons. But these must be persons who may be beneficially entitled if further estate falls in.
There were also emerging details to the Commission about how the Queen Mother evicted the brother-in-law of Sir Edward Rukidi from his land.
Roberto Mtoro was given land, but the Queen Mother, my lord, evicted his son. Haro eka itano is a hairu Roberto Mtoro. There are 5 acres that were given to Roberto Mtoro. Ezi chatekekwa iruke hali omubitokati Victoria ya hairu itaka 235 yasigaza 217.
By the kingdom regulations, the Queen Mother is not supposed to transact anything on behalf of the Kingdom of Toro.
Because the moment the titles read Omukam of Toro, then it is only a person in such authority who can be the final person authorized under the law to transact any business of such matters.
The testimony seemed heavy for the Commission.
We don't know the truth. I don't think anybody is keeping the truth.
We are telling the truth.
Yes.
All these titles read one name on their title deeds.
Now, issues with crime preventers. The Inspector General of Police, Okoth Ochola, isn't bothered whether the crime preventers leave the force. However, he assures the Committee of Parliament on Defence and Internal Affairs that the force will move on with policing just like before the incorporation of the crime preventers. This was in response to concerns expressed by a section of committee members during the presentation of the Ministerial Policy Statement for financial year 2018-2019.
The Commander-in-Chief and the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Museveni, early this month pointed out that crime preventers would become part of the reserve force for the Uganda People's Defence Forces. It's against this background that a section of members of parliament expressed concern of the likelihood of a vacuum being created by the attachment of the crime preventers from the police to UPDF. On the contrary, the police body isn't bothered.
Before these crime preventers came on board, the police was policing. So we shall continue from where we were before they came on board. We shall occupy and dominate the space.
The initiative of crime preventers, a voluntary group, became officially known in 2015. According to the group's website, the purpose is to promote community policing in partnership with the Uganda Police Force. The total number of crime preventers has in the past been indicated to stand at 11 million personnel, a figure that has always been subject to debate.
This transition I'm talking of, the meetings being undertaken, they are going, among other things, to undertake an audit of the numbers so that we are very sure as to how many they are.
Concerns equally arose about a one self-declared criminal, Sam Serunjoji, also known as Sobi, who is freely roaming the streets.
On camera, yes, somebody has said, I've killed. And no matter, I've killed people myself. And you are saying police is out of his way, still investigating, establishing scenarios, how will you sustain a case in the courts of law? And this man goes out of his way to organize a celebration of some vigilantes. And you are telling us you are very busy that you will crack down criminality. And you creating a kind of impunity in the police force, which has been the problem.
So once you arrest him, where are the witnesses? Who would be your witnesses?
And finally, the infamous Nalufenya detention facility in Jinja is likely to face closure.
Nalufenya, the Director of Legal Services, is drafting for me an order to close it. That is okay with you? So any time from now I'm signing it.
Although Nalufenya has in the recent past alarmed the country for being a torture detention center, some say it isn't necessary to close the facility since it has much to do with the action of security organs than the place. Onyango Jackson, UBC TV.
Well, thank you very much there, Nyango Jackson. Let's take our fast break and then return with more news in different segments.
In less than 2 months, the Minister of Finance will read the 2018-2019 national budget before Parliament. But how have the 17 public sectors used the money already allocated to them for this current financial year? Join me, Rachel Takali, as I look into this matter each Wednesday and Thursday here on UBC TV News.
In our next segment, police court has convicted former Buyende DPC Mohammed Kirumira to a demotion in rank. This is after they accused him with excessive use of power when he paraded 2 flying squad officers who allegedly connived with thieves. As Bernard Eager reports, the decision awaits approval of the Police Council.
I want to get to my relatives. You come here and go. My relatives.
After 6 hours of sitting, the police tribunal sitting at Naguru Police Headquarters has convicted Muhammad Kirumira with 4 charges related to abuse of office and excessive use of power. The court, chaired by Dennis Odongpiny, has among other sentences demoted the police officer by 1 rank from Assistant Superintendent of Police to Assistant Inspector of Police. He has been convicted of unlawful use of authority over allegations of asking one Kamadaka Izi to vacate his home in 2014. Police court also says he used unnecessary authority by parading suspects one Ibrahim Nsobuga and Detective Constable Alana Nembiona, who were operatives of the police flying squad, on allegations of conniving with criminals.
And the police court has found me guilty of parading criminals in the media, which is the usual behavior of the force.
The closed-door tribunal also acquitted Kirumira of 4 other charges related to corruption, extortion, and torture. The dropped 4 are out of the 8 cases that had remained out of the 30 counts leveled against him. Commissioner of Police Afando Mara, who is Kirumira's surety, expressed satisfaction about the role he played.
My mission today as a surety, I came in just as a mediator to make sure the disciplinary procedure goes smoothly. And today has been the end of that, was done peacefully. I just want to say that I'm happy as a mediator. I was there as a mediator to see that the proceedings go peacefully. Mediator between him and his lawyers, between him and you, the media, and now the matter is concluded.
The court's decision is awaiting approval by police tribunal, although Kirumira says he is to appeal decision in courts of law.
I am going to appeal that sentence of reduction in rank. And I'm going to appeal that sentence of reprimand. Reprimand means a warning, such that I can retire with my dignity.
Earlier on, a scuffle ensued between journalists and police counter-terrorism officers deployed to stop the media and members of the public from entering police premises.
You check us. Now, what do you need from us?
We want to access the code as it used to be.
Kirumira walked out of police court on Tuesday after police officers who had been deployed to guard court premises denied him and journalists access to the courtroom. He, however, rescinded his position, this time to serve his surety, Commissioner of Police Fred Omara. The Executive Director, Human Rights Network for Journalists, Robert Sempala, was dismayed at the manner in which journalists were treated while covering Kirumira case.
But the media should be allowed to do its work. What we have witnessed today, physical confrontation with journalists, really spells to a dark time for us to operate.
Bernard Higa, UBC TV, in Kampala.
Now over to the National Theatre. The renovation of the Uganda National Cultural Centre is progressively underway, and the Executive Director, Uganda National Cultural Centre, Ojede Francis, has taken UBC through the whole process.
Ojede Francis, ED, Uganda National Culture Centre applauded government for awarding $3 billion to renovate the National Culture Centre for the first time since 1959 when it was last renovated. Areas of main concern include the main show theatre, which is to be expanded, modern windows, the basement and cultural village, where adequate space is to be provided for the market. He also advised artists to dress decently during shows in order to maintain the dignity of the industry.
Well, we picked up the idea of renovating the National Theatre. First of all, you need to know that this building was set up in 1959, and since that time, there's not been any major renovation or major changes in the structures. Most of the facilities that are in started breaking, and some of them are old that needs replacement, and that is the reason we took it up. And of course it had reached a stage where a number of our clients, the artists, started finding it very inconveniencing because some of the facilities were not to the standard that they required.
He lamented about high expenses they needed to maintain the theatre, which in turn attracted high charges on performers. He also scoffed at artists who thought their theatre had been sold out, yet the government rather harbors interest in supporting their industry.
You know, the story about Jede having sold the National Theatre, or Jede is putting down the National Theatre, I think the renovation talks for itself. If you went around, this talk started last year, I think almost around July or something, how I'm going to put down this place. But you have seen what I have done. My aim and what I kept saying, and I'm very consistent on that, is that I want to make a better facility for everyone. I've been able to do it. It is here. The building is here to stay, and somebody could quote me again, I said, if anybody wanted to put this facility down and wanted me to do it, that would be the day I would resign.
Culture Village at National Theatre appealed to management not to be overcharged for rent when new buildings are opened.
Recently we got information from Ministry of Gender that they are going to remove this place, and actually I think they are bringing in an investor to put up some storage building, and people will be, I think, renting those small places in the big building, the small shops. But we are scared that people who are around here may not be able to rent those places, because usually their rent is high. People here have been paying moderate rent, but when it comes to those big structures, they will not be able to pay. People are going to be scared away and they will have no business.
The renovation, which started in September last year, is to be completed in May this year. For UBC News, I'm Nakandwe Patricia.
Now, as Rachel Kelly reports, in any financial year, many things require attention. But the Ministry of Information, Communications Technology and National Guidance has made National ICT Initiative Support Program top priority in order to fulfill Vision 2020.
The National Development Plan 2 envisions a lower middle income Uganda by the year 2020. At the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, effort is being made to tap into skilled, enterprising young human capital.
With ICT, you can turn around things. You can create jobs. You can stop our young people who are graduates now working in toilets in the Arab world. It's such unfortunate that parents do pay a lot of money to educate their young people, but unfortunately, we can't provide the jobs. But the Ministry of ICT today is here to say the time is now to turn around the history of unemployment in this country.
The National ICT Innovation Support Program is being laid as the foundation, focus and great hope of transforming the ICT sector for years to come.
Inaugurating a quality improvement system, and it is only in the Ministry of East Africa. Let me see how it works, and then we shall attack the 400 people, 400,000 civil servants. Because with all these brains around, I don't see why we should be in poverty.
National ICT Innovation Support Program is the result of many months of planning executed via a multi-level approach. First, young ICT innovators are invited to submit proposals for systems and applications they created. Then the submissions are considered, and if approved, they are further examined by a panel of judges.
I would like to thank the Judges Committee led by Professor Navera Habinga for doing a good professional work of evaluating the over 300 applications that came in through the open call for concepts that we issued. Thank you for doing it transparently and in a technical manner. I thank you all that responded to our call for concepts. To those of you that didn't make it to the final stage, please don't give up. You have already won by doing the most difficult task of taking the first step of conceiving the idea.
Next, the system or application is subjected to scrutiny within a setting it is designed to work in, whether medical or education, for example. A final meeting follows where a decision is made to proceed with the product or not. Once National ICT Innovation Support Program is up and running, the government is expected to import fewer systems and applications in favor of local innovators. All these initiatives work best when efficiency and effectiveness are enhanced. Indeed, wastage must end if speedy progress is to be made.
It is not in order for any agency of government to procure a human capital management system, yet the Ministry of Public Service is procuring one. It does not make sense on account of so much data that you own as a government agency to create a data center of your own, yet a data center can be shared. It's the equivalent of saying our ministry has so many cars and therefore want to build our own roads, yet the road already exists. So we sit at the gate to avert this sort of duplication that could waste government resources.
ICT innovations can only reach their full potential when they go hand in hand with a concrete plan to tackle the high cost of doing business in Uganda's ICT sector.
The policy that we're talking about that will actually contribute from a digital perspective to achieve attainment of the lower middle income status is the National Broadband Policy that our minister will be presenting to Cabinet, and it wants to avert any sort of duplication in fiber. There's no reason why the entire Kampala should be dug the same route to put fiber optic cable. All that can be rationalized and used from an using an open access model, whereby any company can use that same pipe. It's maintained by a single supplier as opposed to everybody having, and making the cost of communication actually higher, the cost of internet actually higher, because everybody is building their own road.
The pace has been set. These young people have seized their chance. National ICT Innovation Support Program holds plenty of promise, and Uganda is waiting and hoping for the anticipated great leap into the future. For UBC TV News, I'm Rachel Takali.
Now, are you a lover of coffee or are you a coffee barista? Well, there's some good information about coffee testing that is coming up next in our business segment. So keep tuned on UBC TV. Starting with info for coffee baristas, Africa Coffee Academy has conducted a refresher course for 50 coffee baristas across the country. The trainer, Abdul Rahim Tumsime, says that the purpose of the boot training camp is to ensure that coffee lovers get the taste of the coffee they deserve.
Uganda produces 288,000 metric tons of coffee bean annually, qualifying into the 8th position in the world. However, about 1 million Ugandans consume coffee products, leaving the rest to visiting tourists, the key consumers of the beverage. Such a situation calls for training more dealers in coffee products to interest Ugandans into coffee consumption and improve the quality for other consumers. African Coffee Academy organized a boot coffee training camp targeting coffee baristas in Kampala to give coffee lovers competitive coffee products. The training included desired portioning ratios for cappuccino and espresso drinks, which tourists enjoy most.
When you go to coffee shops, there is what they call a special machine, and it's the barista that will operate on the coffee machine. So we are looking at the basic things that a barista has to do. They had been working, but we just wanted to polish them up and remind them it was like a refresher polish up for the baristas.
Catherine Zalwango, a coffee barista in Kampala, claims the training will change her life.
But through the training, I got to learn a lot. I got to know how to process the coffee, how they do the cappuccinos, the importances of coffee, and I would advise my fellow youth out there, they should pick interest in coffee.
African Fine Coffee Association, the sponsor of the boot coffee training, targets young baristas to address unemployment at the same time sustaining the coffee industry.
Instead of them migrating from the rural areas and focusing on searching for jobs, this is a very good opportunity for them, because without this generation, there's no sustainability of the coffee industry. And this is where organizations such as African Fine Coffees come in and invest in these young people and have trainings like this one that we've just completed.
Mutanya Hilda, UBC News.
Now about Nakawa Property, Nakawa Division Management is to establish a Property Taxpayers Association to monitor whether the money that property owners are charged is being put to proper use in order to ensure value for money. The Mayor Nakawa Division, Ronald Nsubuga, says they will collect over 15 billion Ugandan shillings from properties valued.
60,000 properties were valued in Nakawa Division during the KCCA property valuation exercise. The exercise provided for in a number of legislations that include KCCA Act, Local Government Act and Local Government Revenue Act is conducted every 5 years.
It's quite automatic, and we have actually not been closing people because we don't want to get to that level. What we tell them is that it should be monitoring. You know that I have received an assessment and then I move ahead and pay. We don't want to cause that inconvenience or even prosecute somebody in court. But
verification of property valuation exercise in Nakawa Division ends today. But are property owners here comfortable with the values given to their properties? I do not raise that money they valued for my properties in those houses. I am complaining because even my boys' quarters were valued. Moreover, I do not get any money from them. At 130,000 shillings, yet they are not commercial.
520,000, yet that one with the storage buildings, 12 apartments, paying 300.
Mayor Nakawa Division Ronald Nsubuga talked to property owners that the division collects taxes to construct roads, put security lights and garbage collection in the division. This act of parliament allows them to create an association to monitor the property taxes.
She is charging people for garbage management, which is not supposed to be the case. If we are going to collect this money from our people, from their properties, then that means KCC must stop immediately getting money from the people for garbage collection, garbage management. It will be double taxation if they do that, and someone may take us to courts of law for double taxation.
During the verification, properties with areas were listed from Chiwatule, Mutungo, Bogolobi and Banda.
She continued demanding these people, and the challenge is that the interest, the penalty is almost 6 times the amount you're supposed to pay. There are people that were supposed to pay 35,000, and now for the last 5 years they are going to pay 2 million. And this has come as a result of the penalty.
Accordingly, the Property Valuation Court is more likely to get a number of complainants from Nakawa Division since property owners cite high charge. Properties in Mutungo Zone 12 were, however, not valued. I'm Navka Farida, reporting in Nakawa.
Now, still in business, the financial sector deepening Uganda company has released the 2017 FinTech report, one on performance of the financial technology sector. Although the report shows a steady growth of the fintechs and financial inclusion in Uganda, the growth is way below countries like Kenya. Kenya has about 98% of the total funds raised in the fintech sector in the East African region against Uganda, which has 1.9%.
A FieldTrek 2017 report on the financial performance of the financial technology sector shows that Kenya has established its position as Africa's technological destination. 98% of the total funds to the sector lean towards Nairobi, as Uganda could only bag 1.9%.
Kenya is generally a larger market. So it's a larger market, higher potential, it's very easy to scale in Kenya and become profitable and easy.
$200 million was raised for the fintech business in East Africa in 2017. Local innovators credit the Kenyan government for deliberately supporting the fintech sector.
Still a little bit of work that needs to be done here. Lately, the government has started to appreciate startups. The government has started putting in place programs that support startups locally here. And I think what we would like to see is that there are more intentional, more outright programs that focus and target startups and create an ecosystem that supports startups.
Many of Kenya's fintechs like M-Pesa and M-Kopa have grown to scale and even been exported all over East Africa. Whereas mobile transfer of money in Uganda is following suit, but low internet and mobile phone penetration remains a major hindrance. The situation is worsened by government tax proposals that some argue is against fostering innovation.
The people that advise government on tax and things like that will probably come up with a very attractive proposal that shows government how they're going to make more money by taxing things like social media. But they need to consult with other stakeholders. You need to consult with different other people in different other sectors about how this could potentially affect those sectors.
Nevertheless, financial sector deepening Uganda appreciates increased growth in Uganda's fintech industry that is increasing financial inclusion.
I think the first thing we need to do in Uganda is highlight the success stories. We haven't had enough media focus on our great stories. You look at Kenya and all you hear is M-Pesa, and the question is, who in Uganda is that nugget that we can highlight and put forward as the success story? Because after that one success story, other investors, more media, and more interest will come to Uganda.
The FinTrek 2017 report indicates faster continental growth for Africa as the second fastest growing region with an 87% compound annual growth rate after Pacific Asia. David Matovu for UBC.
Now, as we cross borders, U.S. President Donald Trump said at a joint news conference on Wednesday that he may choose to leave the meeting with Kim Jong-un, leader of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, if it fails short of his expectations. Our CGTN partner has got more in this report.
As you know, I will be meeting with Kim Jong-un in the coming weeks to discuss the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Hopefully that meeting will be a great success, and we're looking forward to it. It would be a tremendous thing for North Korea and a tremendous thing for the world. So we will be doing everything possible, and I hope to have a very successful meeting. If we don't think it's going to be successful, Mark, we won't have it. We won't have it. If I think that it's a meeting that is not going to be fruitful, we're not going to go. If the meeting, when I'm there, is not fruitful, I will respectfully leave the meeting and we'll continue what we're doing or whatever it is that we'll continue, but something will happen.
And in sports, on the local scene, Hot Pool Club has trashed CKI Pharmaceuticals Pool Club 15-5 in a one-sided senior pool national league. The game was played at Rock Catalina and Ntinda.
Hot Pool Club has used home ground advantage to the fullest in walloping CKI 15-5 in a senior national pool league game at Rock Catalina by Ntinda. Playing in the red jersey, Hot Pool must be thankful to Fred Namanya Bonde, Charles Segawa and Habib Sebuguzi, who won 10 games between themselves to earn their team a bonus point.
And the level of competition right now is extremely too high because teams at least they really recognize themselves. For bad starters, like the defending champion last year, they started on a low point. CKU were the second. They've lost 2 games in a row, and today they are playing one of the on-form teams. So this year, this time round, we expect this season to be quite fine, quite good, and quite competitive.
In the women's category, spoils were shared in a 6-all draw. Action continues Saturday with Skinsamona hosting champions Rons. Elite Klein plays Indigo, while Ibanda Warriors visit Capito Knight in Bukoto. John Barnes, Centum, reporting.
Thank you very much, John Barnes. There's your wind up the bulletin. Well, right now, let's have a look at the headlines once again. Commonwealth returnees are accorded heroes welcome. Petitioners challenge the 2017 Constitutional Amendment Act. Donald Trump to leave if meeting with North Korea is not fruitful. And in sports, Hot Pool Club inflicts third defeat on CKI Club. It has been truly a pleasure joining you to bring you the details of what's making headlines. My name is Patricia Lukoma. Thank you so much for keeping it with us. For now, stay tuned for more programming on UBC TV.